Hey, what's going on, guys? We're back with another video, this time back on my PS PlayStation. I decided to show this off. I made this quite a while ago, so yeah, I could probably make improvements later on and probably add a lot more. But I wanted to show off a few superhero stuff I made. And yeah, alright, so first we're gonna start off with Iron Man with quite a few abilities. So basically, just get his beams and his hover, his call suit, his fly, and all that ready. Ooh. Yeah. So basically, this one probably took me the longest to make, because it took like 5 years to make this. It didn't take that long, but it was still pretty tedious. And let's read over some of his abilities. So we got the call suit, which is when thrown, suit flies to you. Fly, when held, lets you fly in any direction. Hover, when held, lets you hover 2 blocks above the ground. Blaster, when thrown, will do high damage blast. Beam, high damage beam, and then built by me. So if we go out here and call it in real quick, as you can see, it comes flying to me. I get an extra spare suit. There's really nothing you can do about that. And let's show off some of the abilities. So we obviously got the fly mode, which I shown off a second ago, accidentally. Which basically just lets you fly in whatever direction you're looking at. And it's pretty good, although you can go through blocks with it, so be careful. You do not want to do that. And then we got hover, which allows you to hover a few blocks above the ground. Be helpful for just like staying away from some enemies without getting attacked. And now let's show off the blasters, which is basically just a snowball when thrown. We'll have a high damage beam that if I get some enemies, like a few cows, I can just absolutely obliterate. So that's cool. And then finally, last but not least, we got the beam, which also took quite a while to make. Where it's just like a high damage beam that can go through multiple enemies in a row, or you can just throw it clean out of line. I think it's pretty cool, and yeah, that's really the Iron Man shown off. And next we'll show off Spider-Man. Alright, we're back with the Spider-Man hero, where we got the strengths, obviously, because Spider-Man has some strengths, and if we open up the kit, we got a few bits of gear for him. I think looks pretty cool. We got really only 2 abilities, but it's basically what you can recreate in Minecraft from him. And that is swing and web. As you can probably guess, swing is kind of like a fishing hook that you can use as a web that you can go and zip up with. It's kind of hard to control though, and not really the best. And you usually get stuck in a lot of things. But yeah, that's basically that one done. You can just kind of get away from people with it. I think that's pretty cool. And now, last but not least, the web, which if you probably guessed, when thrown near the ground, it will throw some webs that you can stick your enemies with. So yeah, you can just kind of go to your enemy, throw some webs onto it, which kind of is hard because they have to walk into it a little bit. But once you get them, it's pretty simple. And then since you have the strengths, you can just easily kill them. And boom. It's a pretty cool superhero, but yeah. We're at the Flash superhero, which is also probably one of my favorites. By the way, there's no like specific type of like hero, so it includes both Marvel and DC. So yeah, I feel like this is pretty cool because and then you get the 3 abilities, which then just speed when thrown down gives you the power of the speed force. When thrown, you will lose the speed force. And time dilation, entities in a 10 block radius will get slowness, and then time stop freezes time entirely. So this one's also kind of overpowered. These aren't really meant to be balanced in a survival world. They're just kind of fun to mess around with. If we show it off and we give ourselves the speed, as you can see, we move pretty fast, and these cows now get slowness, which makes them move around slower. So, and then we also have the time stop ability that when held freezes entities. So that means you can spawn one up in the air, like it can be in the air and it will still freeze and won't be able to move at all, which I think is really cool. And yeah, so there's the Flash, and then obviously if you throw the normal down, you lose all your speed. And yeah. Alright, here we got the Thor superhero, which is also pretty cool. So you get the Thor and the Unthor. I know I'm so original. The Thor book, and then obviously his abilities, which are also pretty cool. So if we just put those right here. If we read this, the effects that Thor gets is speed 1, strength 2, and fire resistance. And then when thrown, when Stormbreaker is thrown, it will damage entities flying through the air. And then Mjolnir, when held, summons lightning. Because I don't want one of them to do both, because then it's kind of confusing and stuff. So I decided to make them 2 different ones, since he does have 2 different hammers within here. And let me show it off by thawing up. And yeah, if we get some entities up in here, you will notice that one thrown, it flies through the air, and then after a second, it comes back to you. So that's pretty cool, I think, anyway. And yeah, and now you obviously have Mjolnir, which does exactly what you expected it to. And yeah, so pretty cool superhero here as well. And you obviously can unthor, which loses the abilities of Mjolnir, and you can't. The Stormbreaker still works because it's set on a different command, but yeah, and it's gone. Yeah, so there's clearly some bugs with this, and it was built a long time ago. So yeah, but it's pretty cool, and yeah. Pretty boring one, but don't worry, the one after it is going to definitely make up for it. Basically just Cap. I'm pretty sure it's a tag that you add yourself, where you, yeah, it's a tag, so you just do slash tag s add Cap. Basically, you get a few effects like speed and strength, and then also resistance. So, yeah, and then you get Cap Shield, which can obviously be used for blocking, or, I mean, if you really want to do the role-playing part about it, you can just use the Strength 3 to absolutely obliterate cows with it. And then also, it does work exactly like the Stormbreaker, where you just throw it, and then comes back to you. Pretty simple. Obviously not the coolest, but there's not really much to do with him. He's just a guy with a shield. No offense to Captain America. He's a pretty cool guy, but yeah. And so, yeah, that's the Captain America. Now, here comes our biggest one yet. And this one is Thanos. It has basically the exact, it has a lot of commands going on with it, and it's basically, essentially, even more complicated than the Iron Man one, which took a lot of commands for, like, all the suit stuff, but, as you can see, we just get the Infinity Gauntlet, and then the Thanos Snap book. You get those, and then I'll put the Power Stones away for now, just so you can see what happens. And, yeah, it says keep first 2 slots open. Drop it for it to work, which is the Infinity Gauntlet. Activates the power of the stones. Normal deactivates the power of the stones. You have to hold each stone for its power except for the Strength Stone. I mean the Power Stone. No, except for the Space Stone. So what you gotta do here is basically activate the gauntlet, and obviously you can turn this off to deactivate the gauntlet, but who wants that when you can become Thanos? And then this one will allow you to essentially, let's read, gotta keep our first 2 slots open, and let's read all these real quick. We got the Power Stone, which gives us Strength 10, so let's try that one out. We gotta make sure our first 2 slots stay open. And yeah, it's essentially what it says in the package, where you can basically obliterate things. If I want to summon an Iron Golem, can pretty easily just one-shot it. Again, this is meant to be overpowered because he's Thanos, so yeah, that's the Power Stone so far. And now let's get to the Reality Stone, which affects all entities with levitation. So remember, this works when it is held, so that means if I summon a bunch of cows and then hold the Reality Stone, they all will float up until I let go, and then they drop dead. Now, the next one is the Soul Stone, which allows you to move entities around. Essentially like you're moving their soul. It's kind of hard to come up with ideas. I tried searching up tutorials for it, but there ain't really good stuff. So, yeah, the Soul Stone lets you just play around with them. And obviously you can always just end them. So yeah, pretty powerful. Now for the next one, we got the Time Stone, which is essentially like the one with the Flash, where as soon as you hold it, you kind of get the freeze time midair. It's very... Well, no, you might notice that a lot of these are pretty easy to combo together. Like, you can make one float and then freeze them in time and then, like, let go and stuff. So, yeah, now let's get to the next stone, which is the Mind Stone, which gives all players in a radius of 25 darkness. Again, you have to be creative with these, and like I said, there's no players because I have no friends, so I can't test that one out, but trust me, I did try it out with a friend a little while ago, and it does work. And finally, the Space Stone. You get an infinite Ender Pearl, pretty much. So, if we get the Space Stone, as you can see, this is the reason why you have to keep your 2 slots open. You get an Ender Pearl that cannot be dropped, so you can just kind of TP around. You're essentially God at this point. Especially with this item, which we get a few test subjects by summoning a few cows. It's basically the snap item. If you throw it down, everything just dies. Even players, basically everything. Kind of cool. And yeah, so that's the Thanos. And obviously the stones don't work for an average person if they don't have the gauntlet activated. So if I deactivate it, as you can see, I lose the effects of basically everything, including the pearl, all of it. So yeah, that's the Thanos. I think it's a pretty cool idea. If you guys want to let me know in the comments on what I can change about it to make it a little better, please let me know. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and bye.